Guru vision. What thinks it knows thinks it has answers. The program runs, and it is simply that way. But the stories it tells itself of separation are never true or real, or whatever word the conditioning uses. Each perception is unique, and no perception is separate. Thoughts latch on to whatever answers are heard or projected based on patterns inside the brain, the code that programs them. Separation tells its story, but separation is not what is ever seen or experienced. In some organisms, thought arises in conjunction with perception and is filtered through some programming, what we label beliefs. No thought is better or worse, nor even true or false, for no thought is ever true. Any story of perception is simply heard here now, like the tales of a monster in the lake. Looking at the water, it cannot be seen, but to the believer, it remains hidden in the depths. Gurus have an enlightenment monster deep beneath the water. The one that claims it knows more than others, other humans, and other appearances, in what it divides itself from and calls nature. There is no separate nature. There are no separate humans. There is no separation at all. To say the guru is enlightened is like saying a squirrel's perception is somehow more true than a porcupine's. It's nonsense. Simply thought firing through broken cylinders. There never can be a guru or a squirrel. You can name appearances in this, and in the dream they can be seen, but they are not actual separate entities. Names are not the things they name, and separate things have simply never been seen by any human perception. There is no knowing of what is. There is simply what is. In some stories, appearances come to be seen as simply appearances. But no guru sees through them or beyond them, for there is no guru separate from the dream, and no magical guru vision that sees some absolute truth beyond human perception. The guru is simply one more appearance, equal to all the rest. You may agree with the story that color is illusion, but no guru will ever teach you to see the world in black and white. And even if they did, you would have no more reason to think that was a more accurate way of seeing. Gurus sometimes provide thoughts with reasons and excuses. They can teach you thoughts that pretend to excuse you from experiencing what is being experienced. They can tell you this about that, and that about this. It sounds like I am telling you about this and that, you say, those of you who are not afraid to be rude. It does, but I'm not. How could I know anything at all? This is not meant to be a statement about how to see the world. This is simply a description of what is seen. It is not meant to be true or accurate, any more than you seeing a cloud has some hidden meaning. What you label a cloud is simply an appearance. You can describe it as a meteorological phenomena, but you will only see it through your human eyes as a fluffy, puffy outline against the canvas of sky. All that is ever being said here is that beyond what is perceived, no thing is known. No thing is understood. No thing is separate or apart from the whole. And even the whole is yet one more thought. For when have you ever seen the whole? You just see this, what appears, what seems to come and go, though you don't even see it coming or going. Still, this is not to say that nothing can ever be communicated in the dream. That makes no more sense than saying that movie or dream characters do not interact, or that life happening is not filled with apparent motion and sound and imagery. Just because there is no real separation does not mean there are no appearances. Change is a quality of the dream. You may have an idea that you disbelieve in it, but as long as the dream is in place, your body-mind will still rot away. Your dream life is like your nighttime dream. It exists within something that, from its vantage point, is endless and unknown and infinite. But the dream itself comes and goes, appears and disappears, into and out of no thing at all, at least from the perspective of the dream. That means that anything can and does appear to happen. No doer doesn't mean there is no doing in the dream. Just that no separate one exists that does or does not act. Any words to the contrary of what is perceived are simply guru vision, one more system of beliefs, one more religion. Yet they too are an inseparable part of the dream, like the monster in the lake. Swimming with you in the lake of love, my beloveds. Everyone wants to feel like they understand this. Everyone wants to F the ineffable. I find it funny to see almost every single person who talks about this and says it's unknown and unknowable come back in the next few sentences with their theory of how it works. And yes, that includes this apparent Miranda thingy that's writing these words. I've done it a lot, and there is no outside view looking in, no guru standing beyond time and space telling it like it is, or isn't. Sometimes the descriptions are very elaborate, sometimes very simple. Sometimes it seems like someone's trying to tell the truth, even about not being a someone. But all that's happening is that thoughts are appearing and are somehow taken as descriptions of reality. Non-duality speakers have theories about what thoughts are and where they come from. But that's only a thought talking about a thought. And even that's untrue, because it makes thought sound like a solid, tangible thing that can think. Do thoughts think? Do thinks thought? See what I mean? I don't, so no worries, mate. What is a thought? Can you find a thought separate from anything else experienced or perceived? The imaginary point here is that the thought, this is a thought, makes thought seem like something understandable or comprehensible, when really, it's more like voices simply appearing. I can't even say in your head. In the dream story, there's a belief that when wholeness is seen, aka awakening, enlightenment, liberation, there's an accompanying sense of not knowing. Words and language and thought are seen to be illusory descriptions of the indescribable. At the same time, weirdly enough, some people believe they can talk about and explain this mysterious phenomenon of perception and reality. Their opinions and ideas, while inspired by this indescribable, unexplainable perception of wholeness, are filtered through the lens of perception of the character or body-mind that's speaking. This isn't hard to observe. People raised in India with a background in Indian spirituality, or those who studied with Indian gurus, interpret and speak about this in the language of Indian tradition. People raised in Western culture interpret and talk about this in very Western language. Those with a rational background tend to talk about this from a materialistic, rational perspective. And people with a mystical background mostly talk about this from a New Agey perspective. From knowing a Native American friend and an anthropologist, it's clear this would be described very differently in indigenous cultures. Sometimes the character imagines their old ideas were incorrect, and they switch to another view. But it's simply something they heard someone else talking about. It's not the universe giving them a flash of true cosmic insight. No one has that. It's no different than starting to root for Arsenal when you've been a Liverpool supporter, though that's a greater shift that far fewer will ever experience. Every thought, idea, or belief is simply something you heard someone else say. All your ideas come from some imaginary character, that has no more experience of being alive than you, and can't possibly know more than you about existence, even if they claim they do. But you hear someone sound like they know something special, and you have the thought that person can tell you the truth. Good luck with that. It's never going to happen. There is no you thinking that thought. There is a thought. That's all the you there is. There's nothing behind it or attached to it. What would that be? The apparent body or character? Nope. There is no actual character. No thinking being that is weighing options, ideas, and opinions to arrive at the truth. Just some process creating an illusion and thoughts emerging out of the process. And of course, there's no process either. That's just another thought. Yesterday I saw humans, birds, squirrels, bushes, dogs, and a cat. Thoughts gave me labels to describe patterns moving on the apparent screen of time and space. If you asked me to look at them and tell you which species has the ultimate answer to the question of everything, there's no possible way to know. They all appear to move about or stay still, doing this or that, making sounds or not. The wind blows. Does it have the answer? Only a thought projects the idea of an answer. Nothing is there to know. No one is there to know. There is nothing to know. There is no one to know. In the mean no time, dance and play and frolic in this landscape of life appearing as love, as spring blooms and blossoms in the soil of your heart, my beloveds. Every fairy tale has an imaginary ending. Once upon a time, in a land without time, or no time, Sleeping Beauty awoke from her dreamless sleep. She knew she was dreaming, but it was not her dream. She had been awakened by a kiss from the beloved, who whispered in her ear, "There is always only ever this, only ever love." I still don't know what awakening is. I don't really believe liberation happens. I can't imagine I'm enlightened, and I can't imagine anyone who is. And I'm not even talking about the cute catch-22 of losing an I to be or not be enlightened. Simply that humans seem to perceive, and perception and its interpretation may change. And so what? It has no meaning. It is as it is. Always. And what that is, I do not know, and do not believe there is anyone who does. In this dream of a life unfathomable and unknowable, it feels like I do know what the warm breeze feels like on my skin. It seems I know the sound of rain singing a lullaby in the dark night when clouds turn silver as the moon dances in their wake. I know the infinite depths that opened when I looked into the only eyes that ever reflected what I called my heart, and her heart that seemed as vast as the ocean and broken as the trees that have fallen in the wind. I love the stories and the songs and the poems that danced me into the lives of so many wonderful dream characters. And I see they are all the same story, written in different colored ink on invisible pages that fade into interpretation that will never capture a single word. I haven't the slightest belief in anything that is said by anyone about anything or any idea that anything is going to happen. The past, the future, are simply photographs I peruse in this, all there has ever been, all there will ever be. The rest is La La Land, beautiful, haunting, evocative, lovely, heartbreaking, but not real. No more so than the stories I used to hear at church. Tales of transformation and salvation, given another twist. But there is no one to be saved, and nothing that ever changes. What is beautiful and alive in non-duality is as alive to the alleged seeker as the alleged sage. It is the song of life, singing itself in a million different ways. It is the chirping of crickets, the caw of the crows, the hoot of the owl, the rustling of windswept trees, the thunder that dances with lightning, the only enlightenment in this world. It is a love story, a story of life seen without some of the usual filters, but no more expansive than others. Among the Kung people of Africa, the deepest truths were known not to be able to be expressed in words. They could only be danced. Only dance could point to what was most ineffable and mysterious and unnameable. A Kung satsang would be music and dance, and it would be the one I wish to attend. The thought that what some modern people seem to believe is any more true or closer to anything is like the preacher explaining why their church is truer than the other religions. A belief in nothing. Of course, the Kung knew life was a mystery and never tried to explain it. They said it long before the first guru. There is a dream, dreaming us. There can never be two. Anything that divides falls away, even the idea of oneness. This is beyond any interpretation, even the word this. And so, it fades like moonlight at dawn. I have spoken of love. I have spoken of my perception. There seems nothing else to say. No more language, No more words. Have I ever conveyed anything of what this small experience of life and love is? Probably not. But the truth is, you can't communicate with any other being, now and forever, and I accept lostness forever. For no one is there. You are not a seeker. You are not a sage. You are ripples on the pond, birds dancing in wind, leaves blooming in spring, dissipating in fall. You are my heart. I am your heart, and there is neither one nor two hearts. I will meet you wherever you are. I won't pretend I know anything when there are no things. I will simply hold you and dance with you as the music plays. It is a dream and a non-dream. And how funny that the most we can say takes us here, to the edge of not knowing. And there we are finally free. Free from the idea of freedom, for whatever can that mean? Free even from being anyone at all, and free from being no one at all. After all, how does it feel to be no one? There is simply this, and all such ideas are simply fables. The king's magician, looking for the correct interpretation of the markings of a tortoise shell. This cannot be it, and it can never not be it. There is no it. There is no this. This is freedom from knowing, but even that is a concept. No matter. You know what I feel, and I feel what you know. And we are there and nowhere at all. It's not a place. It's not a state. And if there is one thing left, it will be love. And of course, there is no such thing as love. Still, there is a creature in a dream, a creature someone named a Miranda Thingie for no reason at all. And it seems to walk the dream forest like a bird or a wildcat or a sea monster. I'll meet you in a field where you cannot ever go. I'll meet you in a field where there is no liberation and no one to be liberated. I'll meet you in a field made of the last human words uttered in rhapsodic awe, then scattered to the sky to become stars burning the pages of night. I'll meet you in a field where none of us know anything and know that we don't. I'll meet you in Rumi's unified field theory. I'll meet you in your dreams, my beloveds. We will dance together in the arms of love. You don't have to wait for me. We're already dancing.